Hey guys, I'm going to be doing a bow build and a review on a Bowtech CP30. Okay, so I just put ABB Platinums on this guy here. Just going to start from scratch. I did set it up a little bit, played with it with the stock strings. I generally put aftermarkets on all my bows. I just think they perform a little bit better generally. I can say that a lot of the manufacturers are doing a better job. But I like different materials, things that don't stretch as much, just custom. I just like my stuff looking cool, playing good, tuning good, all that fun stuff. But this bow should come in at 30 inches ATA with a 6 3/4 inch brace height. The IBO speed on this bow is 331, which cool. I can tell you it definitely is performing pretty good. I did shoot it through the chrono with the last set stringing cables on there and the other build I was playing with, and it was performing pretty well. So yeah, let's get started. Let's check some specs on this guy. Okay, so I'm gonna check axle to axle. I did let these stringing cables stretch overnight. All right, so we're coming in at 30 1/16 axle to axle and a brace height of right on 6 3/4. So that's good. Spec on Bowtech is actually plus or minus a 1/4 inch. So I mean, it's in spec. I like to get it as tight as possible to manufacturer spec. So all right, we're gonna go ahead and start with putting on the rest. I'm gonna run a QAD integrate on this guy. Just want a minimalist setup. So let's get started with that. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and mount this QAD MX integrate onto this bow here. I already took the plate off, so I'm gonna go ahead and loosen a little clamp here. Bowtech officially added a dovetail on the back of the risers. Kind of catching up with everybody else here, which is cool. Gives us some more options for mounting systems, which is really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and mount that guy. Get that snug there. Notice when you really over tighten these, it makes it hard for you to actually move the elevation adjustment. I think that this clamp just presses too hard on the inside here and gets on that worm gear on the inside. So go ahead and clamp this down. Lock that in. Cool. Got that on the bow. Okay. Okay, so now that we've got the rest on there, I'm going to go ahead and level the riser. This is a 2nd gen Hamskea 3rd axis leveler, but it also doubles as a really good string leveler. So we're going to go ahead and latch that on the string there. I'm going to get this as level as humanly possible. Take your time with this kind of stuff. It's very important to get your bow set as square as possible. That's looking pretty good. We're gonna run a 5mm FMJ off of this bow without a point, which I'm planning on running a 100 grain tip on this guy. It's coming out right at 400. It's like 399.8. So got that guy going on there. All right. Someone put some box sets on here, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a mark. I'm going to start this guy actually at an 1/8, which might sound a little weird. Some of you, I've noticed these short ATAs tend to run downhill, like running downhill a little bit. I just think it's the geometry of the bow. We'll see. When I initially set this bow up, it's tuned at an 1/8, so I'm assuming it's going to do something similar. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my first knock set. Tight. That's tight. I'm gonna go ahead and just check, make sure nothing moved. Oh, we are right at an 1/8 still, so we are good to go there. Pop this off. this off so we know where we need to be. We're gonna dip the bow down. Apologize here. Gonna go ahead and set the camera. Promise the more we do this, the better this is gonna be. We're just filming on an iPhone with a tripod, so we're gonna get there. All right, so go ahead and continue here. So the reason we put knock sets on bows, a couple reasons. One, I like to keep knock sets on there because I mean it keeps a consistent knocking point. That's one of the biggest things. Sometimes if you just tie a D loop to the straight serving, it slides around a little bit over time. If it's not tied tight enough, it can slide around. So that eliminates a lot of those issues. Biggest thing is knock pinch though, and that's like one of the biggest killers with tunes is if you have too much knock pinch, you only know what that arrow is going to do at the end of the day. I mean, it could come off. You could have vertical issues, horizontal issues, just straight up inconsistency. So, really like to add some knock sets onto the bow here to decrease issues, because the less issues we have, the better off we're going to be in the long run. Because an easy tune is a good tune. Okay, so now I have my knock sets set on the string, so I'm going to go ahead and put a D loop on it. We're just going to roll a tan D loop. Why not? We got a all tan ABB Platinum on here, so we're going to roll tan D loop. I like to use BCY24. It's a little bit stiffer. It's definitely strong. I've never really had issues with it fraying or anything goofy like that. I like the size too. We have the Surcut stuff. I think it's a little too stiff at times depending on what color it's dyed with, and it's a real thick material. I just don't like the way it ties. I think 2.3 is just too small for what we're trying to do. But to each their own. Everybody has their preference, and that's the beautiful thing about this. There's a million ways to do this, and this is my way, so that's why I'm sharing it. All right, I'm going to tie our loop here. Again, tying it down like this just seems to be easier. Seems like I can get a little bit more tight than with the bow vertical in the vise. All right, so I got our top knot there. I always tie D-loops with that top knot or top bead facing away from the shooter's face. Reason being is it completely will decrease, well, not completely, but it'll really decrease string torque. Especially if it's a shorter loop, which I try not to tie loops too short. A little bit longer is better, especially for those handheld guys like myself. Alright, go ahead and cut that. Cut it about 1/8 inch here. Try to get my loops around that close to 1/2 inch long. Sometimes they're a little longer. Got to do the little spit trick there, cool her down so we can pull through. Space that out a little bit. Good. Go ahead and get this guy tight. Guy's nice and worn out here. Alright, got our D-loop. That said, that's looking pretty. I like it. I like it a lot. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and get that rest cord into the cable. I already went ahead and tied a little bit of serving down there, so save us some time. Okay, so I'm just installing the rest cord. Big thing with Bowtech, make sure you don't overpress them. Basically, a good rule of thumb is when you're pressing this bow, the flex guard, as soon as it comes straight, you're usually pretty good. Okay, we're straight. No tension on the string. If you overpress it, you run the risk of damaging limbs and all that fun stuff, and we don't want to do that because that's not fun. Okay, already split the strands here, so we know where we're at. Okay, go ahead and run that through like so. I'm going to add tension here. Always check where your where your string and cables are at, because you never know when one might roll off, especially with a newer string and cable set. When it's really, really stiff, they could roll off a track real easy. And these Bowtechs have a bit more of a shallow track than some other bows out there, so I like to be careful. Okay, looks good. Go hold this with tension on it. Okay, so I have the bow in the drawboard, so I'm gonna go ahead and draw it back. We're gonna check timing. We're gonna make sure this cord is set. So I'm gonna go ahead and rip it all the way back to full grip. And get it all the way back. This cord is somewhat set, and we'll find things from there. Okay. So I want my fork to be at full draw about a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch before it hits the stops. So I'm gonna grab a tape measure. So right now my fork is all the way up, measuring from my stop to my cable, and it is exactly at ½ inch. So I like that, I like where that's at. All right, so we're gonna come in nice and slow here. I'm checking to see where my stops are hitting. I got my stops here, in here, and I do have aftermarket stops on this bow. I'm not running the stock ones. I believe they're called Precision Match, something like that. They're not Lucky stops, I can tell you that much. Which there's nothing wrong with Lucky stops. I just don't like them. Okay, so my top's touching. My bottom maybe a half twist off. Okay, so my bow's a little long. I'm going to check the weight too before I make a decision. But we know axle to axle is a little bit long, and we're talking a 1/16 of an inch. So I might just put a half twist into the top and roll from there. Okay, so just took it out of the drawboard. Top is, I'm talking like maybe a 1/16 of an inch advanced, which isn't the end of the world. I mean, these things are going to stretch too, but I want to get it perfect. So before I make a decision, we know that axle to axle is a 1/16 of an inch long from exactly a 30, which our spec range is a 1/4 inch, but still, because I don't want to get them as close as possible. Brace is still on. I'm going to check the weight before I make any decision here. So we're using the Last Chance HS3. Go ahead and draw this guy back. Pulling a bit hot, believe it or not. It's about 70 pound bow. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a half twist out of the bottom. I think that's what we're gonna roll with here. Okay, so I took that half twist out of the bottom. I checked the timing. It was money. That's all it took. So I'm gonna go check the weight just one more time to see where we're at, just to verify. Rock solid. Okay, read a little bit hotter that time, which doesn't make sense. Still shows a handheld scale, so it's reading about 75. It's probably more like 73, but we'll roll with that. Okay, so we already talked about the refs that I'm running. We already kind of ran through the initial tuning steps, get this bow in time, get it in spec, all that fun stuff. We tied a D-loop. Just going to talk about the accessories I'm going to throw on this guy, because I do not shoot through paper without the accessories. I want to shoot the bow through paper how I am going to shoot it outside of here, outside on the range, in a hunting situation. So I'm going to run the Black Gold Dual Track. It's an adjustable 2-pin sight from Black Gold. They came out with it last year. Real unique feature about this one is you can move the second pin. So unlike your Spot Hog, double pin, your RYZ from HHA, you can actually adjust the second pin, which is really cool. Not knocking the other two sights. I use both of them. I love them. I think they're all great in their own way. I just think this one's it's going to be a cool match for what I'm trying to do with this rig. I'm going to run the Shrewd Vantage. For now, I'm playing with a lot of bars. I've run a lot of bars in the past. This is a new one for me. They've had a lot of hype, on social media and on YouTube. So we'll see. I'm sure it's a great company. I've been using their connections, like their quick disconnects, backbore mounts to the Atlas, all that fun stuff. So I'll be running a 12 and a 9. We'll figure out what weight configurations work best once we start shooting this bow. Yeah, we're gonna run that, and then I'm gonna try out the new shift lock quiver from Tight Spot. I shoot a lot of bows working in a bow shop, so I like to play with a lot of things, and I found that I do like the really long quivers, like the low pro style quivers from Matthews. I think having really spaced out connection points, 2 of them, really helps with making your arrow sit in the quiver more stable. So yeah, we're gonna try that on this guy, and I'm gonna get this all attached here, and we're gonna shoot the paper. Okay, so I got all the accessories on there. One thing I did forget to mention is center shot. I usually do that when I'm tying D-loop, and kind of rush in there a little bit, and I didn't go over that. So yeah, just set the center shot about 13/16. Bowtechs and Elites too are very interesting because they have the set or deadlock technology. So cams are always shifting, or the limb pockets in terms of an Elite. So they don't really give you a factory spec center shot. Bowtech says around 3/4 to 13/16. So I just start 13/16 to kind of see what we have going on. So I set it there. We just got to shoot this thing now. So let's go out to the range. Okay, so we're out here on the range. I got the paper tuner set up, and then I didn't go over the specs of the bow. So it obviously is a 70 pump bow. We did mention that. Draw length is set at 28.5 inches on the module. Comfort setting. I'm not doing performance. So let's see what we got rolling here. We got to take a shot. Very, very smooth draw cycle on this bow for the poundage. Okay, so first shot was a bit knock low, knock right. I'm gonna take one more just to verify that. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw it back. Same thing. So a little low, a little right. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and adjust that. I'm gonna check the timing again, make sure nothing's stretched. Might just drop the rest a smidge there because it's not a lot. But just some thoughts on the bow itself. I mean, super smooth draw cycle, like ridiculously smooth for like 74 pounds is what it's pulling. Very dead in hand, like very dead in hand. So that's good on their part. I don't feel a lot of riser flex or any hand shock, no jump, no torque. Now, I mean, I am running some bars in there, so I do feel a little bit of a bar reverb, but nothing crazy. Very quiet too. So, I mean, overall, I really like how this bow feels. I mean, this is a great offering from Bowtech. I like the CP28 last year. I didn't shoot it. I don't really like that short of a bow. I generally kind of migrate towards that 32, 33, 34 inch ATA bow. I just think the way they're designing some of these with the longer risers just makes them a lot easier to shoot. So definitely wanted to play with this one this year. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and adjust that. I'm gonna try to get a cleaner tear this time. I don't like what that's doing, so bear with me. Okay, so I dropped the rest a little bit. We're in between 1/8 and 1/4, which is starting to run downhill a little bit. I don't know how much I like that. Timing was still good. If it continues to shoot low, I'll reset the knocking point, maybe go a little bit higher. We're already running a little high in the burr hole, so maybe we'll check the arrow out too, see what's going on there. I have noticed on some of the shorter bows, and not a lot of people talk about this, some of it's due to geometry, especially on the Matthews bows. They this is coming straight from Matthews, they tend to prefer a softer spine arrow. I don't know about the Bowtechs, but Bowtechs have traditionally liked the stiffer shaft, so that would be news to me on these ones. I think a lot of it comes down to geometry, but in terms of rest choice, I've noticed that limb-driven rests definitely tune way better, way easier. I've noticed some of this stuff with any kind of cable-driven rest. I just think it's arrow support because they drop a little bit faster. So we're going to keep trying. We'll see what we get here, and we'll go from there. So shot number 3. Timing still feels great. Rock solid back wall. That looks worlds better. Okay, so just shot it. I mean, vertical, it's perfect. It's just a little bit knock right, a little bit more than I'd like to take out the center shot. Definitely gonna adjust it with camling. So we're gonna go ahead and shift the cams to the right, just a smidge. I'm talking like maybe a quarter turn. So we're gonna go ahead and loosen, show you here. We're gonna unlock the locking screw there on the top and the bottom. That was a little tight. We're gonna shift them to the right just a smidge here. And that would be counterclockwise. So just about a quarter of a full rotation. What you do to the top, you do to the bottom, and vice versa. Once we're done there, we're gonna go ahead and lock this back down. It's that easy. I don't have to take it back to a bow press or do anything crazy with it. Twist yokes up or flip top hats or shims or whatever it was, or would be. So let's go ahead and take another shot here. Shot number 4. Looking pretty. All right, I'm gonna take a look and see what that was. Okay, so that one was just a smidge left. So it was actually just a little bit. So I clicked my center shot to the inside, 3 clicks. We'll see what that gets us. Okay, let's take a look. That actually looked phenomenal. Let's see if we can see the paper here. Okay, so we got 5 shots here. Get this set up here. Okay, so shot 1, horrible. Actually, that would be shot 6. My apologies. First shot, second shot is a little bit worse. I don't know why, but you can see point high, tail low, a little right there. This is shot number 3 to confirm again what we got going on. This was shot number 4, which was actually really good. It's a little bit more knock right than you probably can see. So I shifted the deadlock over a little bit, got a slight left, just clicked my rest over, 3 micro adjustments, and we have an absolute perfect bullet hole. So 6 shots, not bad. Not bad at all, actually. And I'm gonna check my knock height again. I don't really like running my rest super downhill if need be. But sometimes that's what the bow wants, and that's what it's gonna be. Sometimes you just can't get away from it. I usually keep it around an 1/8, maybe slightly past that is my parameters. I mean, again, if that's what the bow wants, that's what the bow wants. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and shoot it through the chronograph. So this is a 500 grain arrow. It's a 300 spine Easton FMJ. It's a 5mm FMJ. I have a 5-inch wrap from Boning. It's one of their white reflective ones with 3 Fletch AAE max stealth, like a slight helical, like 3 degree. Nothing crazy. So go ahead and give it a rip and see what we got. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and shoot it through the chronograph here. And this is a 500 grain arrow, literally weighing in at 500 grains. It's like 499.8 to 5, depending on which arrow I grab. We're pulling about 74 pounds, 28.5 inches of draw. This is the Bowtech CP30 on comfort. .266, that is definitely not bad for the comfort mod. Let's go ahead and pull this and take another shot. I had to move my camera down just a smidge because if you can't tell, my stabilizer kind of bumped the camera just a little bit. All right, let's see where we're at. Looks good, 266. Shoot another one. Duplicate. So 266 at 266 feet per second, a 500 grain arrow, 74 pounds, 28.5 inches of draw.
on the comfort setting. So that's pretty respectable speeds. This is primarily just going to be like a whitetail rig for me right now. I'm probably going to hunt out the rest of the season with it, and yeah, I'm pretty thrilled with that.
All right, everyone, that's a wrap on this build. This is the Bowtech CP30, the new 2023 aluminum short flagship that Bowtech's offering this year. They also have the SS34 and Carbon 1, which is their carbon flagship, which is really awesome. I'm really thrilled with how this bow tuned out. It only took me 6 shots, and I didn't have to take it to the press once, which is really, really cool. Especially for the at-home guy who doesn't have a lot of tools to get the job done. So, you know, for me as a tech, I mean, that's time that I can get back to the customer, and that's special. It really is. I didn't have to take it to the press, shim it, I play with yokes, go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it was just really, really easy. I'm thrilled with that. In terms of just the overall review of the bow, how I personally feel about it, I mean, super crazy smooth draw cycle at 74 pounds is what it's pulling. Crazy smooth, super dead in hand, super quiet. No hand shock at all, no torquing. I know in the past people have said Bowtechs tend to torque to the left. I didn't feel any of that. Now again, I'm running a 12 and a 9-inch stabilizer, so that probably has something to do with it. But yeah, I mean, overall I'm thrilled with it. I'm really excited to get in the woods with it here pretty soon if we can get this guy sighted in. But I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Just a text take on everything. We're going to be doing more with various other brands and accessories and aero builds and all that fun stuff. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.